or a membership meeting for each of the associations.
So while I'm standing up, you mentioned beautification. And that's one thing I would like to see around here. I mean, I know we're starting to work on the front with the plants and stuff that we put in out there. Not sure what the plans are for signs in that front entrance. But I do have a little concern about over here by the boardwalk where it looks like there's a lot of iguanas and crabs and things like that that are burrowing in. And is that going to create down the road maybe some safety issues? Is that a concern?
Potentially. So
Yeah.
it's not because I want to just throw it on the new board. It's, you know, we've had crabs. I can remember crabs from over 30 years ago in back of Bristol. Can't get rid of them. So as far as the iguanas, I know actually somebody could be, we looked into it, you know, it didn't look overly effective, but the new board can certainly look into it.
Okay.
The seawall was, if that's your ultimate concern, it was done in 2013 that was looked at. So we did the boardwalk with the composite and the sea, at that time it was looked at. So I'm not oh, there's an iguana, look at that.
Oh, we're talking about you.
Talk about it.
Meeting?
Some
In
people,
the spotlight, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a little one.
Look, he's saying yes, I'm coming to the meeting.
yes.
I guess
So-
I do walk back through there and stuff, and I know there are places in the grass where it's starting to sink in a little bit and things. And
Oh, wait a minute,
I have
that's a
myself
different
problem,
issue.
too,
That's,
yeah.
that's a different issue. So let's
I
discuss
agree.
that.
Okay.
So now we have a different issue. That's why it's important to have a conversation. So the water goes like this.
Right.
It's natural. The lampposts sink. It just, it's life. It's
Okay.
not, it's a maintenance issue, but I don't see it,
Right.
personally, it's an opinion, not a crisis.
Yeah, and the only reason I bring it up is, like I said, I do walk
Right.
back through there, and I myself have fallen, because sometimes when the grass gets a little high, you don't see the dip, and that's where it is a little bit of a safety concern, you know, and that's more where I'm coming from, is from a safety point of view.
The grass, and again, it's not picking on anybody, but, you know, there are animals, there are dips, it's a recommendation. Obviously, if you want to do it, you gotta be careful. But it's really not to walk on, it's to look pretty if it can, you know, whatever.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just.
Stan,
Randy.
we gotta hear.
Randy, okay, we all know I'm the dog lover here and all that and everything, and I really do, I love them, they add so much to our lives, but I'm in agreement with the people that don't like when the dogs, you know, like, we all have to have our personal space, you know, up until a point, like up to the, I don't know, 2 feet at least, you know, like from people's doors, because I've seen, like, you know, I've been in other units with other people, whatever, like, people just come right up to the door, and the dog poops right there, or, you know, pee-pee's right there, you know, there's no, like, boundary of personal space, like, from the patios, and, like, you know, maybe like a little sign, you know, or a notice of, like, you know, 2 feet. I actually looked at a beautiful picture that Francine has from many years ago. It's a watercolor, and in front of my unit, and in between, obviously I remember there was trees, there was a tree when I first got here, but there was also around the tree a beautiful, like I guess a little tiny low bush with some flowers in it, and it added so much to that area over there. I mean, you know, even if a committee does come up, whatever, and it's not too much, and, you know, people want to add to something like that, or kind of take out some of the deadness that's in that area, whatever, something to work on. But it's just an idea to maybe take back a little bit of, you know, I know the unit at the property line ends over there, and it's a common area, but just to be respectful of, like, you know, even in the front, whatever, you know, people, they don't do it that much in the front as they do it in the back for some reason. But walking, I walk so many dogs here, I really would advise people not to really walk in the grasses over there, because my ankles, okay, have seen that, and, like, so I try to walk on the skirt of the boardwalk at least, because you could hurt yourself, so.
You can't even get in the elevator anymore without stepping in something.
So, let me give you the association's point of view on that. And it's not my personal point of view, because I heard you. I did. So, you're asking for consideration. Well, and I'm not being negative when saying this, people don't have to be considerate. So if they choose to walk by your apartment with the dog or not with the dog, it's really here nor there. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. They're entitled because it's a common area. So again, I hear you, and there is a big conversation about cooperation and willingness to see other people. We'll have that in a little bit, other people's point of view. But it's been noticed, and because I live it in essence daily, you know, it's not a requirement of law. So you could put a sign out, but the association could not put a sign out. And again, I'm speaking on behalf of the association on that. So do you have any questions on that?
No, and also I'm guilty of it a little bit, but you know, it's the dogs that I know and everything like that. But I was thinking about it, and it's just, you know, you wouldn't.
I do know, but you don't have
wouldn't
to.
think it would come from me with my association with a lot of dogs here.
Yeah.
But I just think it would add to people's, you know, that 2 feet area or whatever, and you know, maybe if we can get that round thing. I'm not talking about putting a tree back, but like putting like some type of bush there. It gives a little bit more privacy from across the way. I mean, I don't know what the.
Well, again, let the new board take care of that. I'm not,
Okay.
you know, it's done. I have to learn to let go, and it's, wow,
It just
what
looks
a
so
pill.
beautiful in the picture.
So,
I have a question. I'm Katie from Riverbend. What is the boundaries? Are there like, who owns what? Buildings?
that's a really good question. So we would have to go back to the condo docs.
And
That's it.
Where do you find?
Well, you're supposed to have your Riverbend condo docs. Do you have them?
No.
I thought so.
Oh,
So-
something says no pets, but apparently they don't enforce it.
We had to sign and say
Yeah, well, yeah, I understand all that. But most people never read them, and if they do read them, I don't think I've ever gotten questions. So
is it a booklet or just pages and pages?
it's pages and pages of lawyer-written.
No, we do not have that.
Yeah, you really need to get them and see what you're agreeing to.
From our board.
They should be online in the management company, they should have
Okay.
given you online access, and they should be posted there. If they're not, you know, contact the management company and they should be able to get them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can do that.
Yes. So you'd also have to go back to the Middle River Club condo docs. So
Okay.
I kind of know because I've had to know, and that's all I can go by are those drawings. So. Another question?
Okay, so
Rob
just-
from River Shores.
Rob from River Shores. I'm just curious if everybody knows what happens with assessments. Where does the reserve fill in on this? How does this play a part of your reserve, of your assessment?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to have a dialogue because I'm not quite sure what you're asking for. So let me ask some.
Is the reserve a part of, is that used to pay part of the assessment or nothing in the assessment?
For the insurance?
For the reserve, yes.
No, the insurance is not on a reserve. And actually, it's recommended that they don't, in general, for condo stuff, that you do not put a reserve for insurance. Because remember, it's a yearly expense. So it's not a capital project, it's an operating cost. Do you follow that logic?
Okay,
One's an operating for short term, because remember, an insurance policy is only for a year.
right.
And then there's reserves, which are for capital projects, which are supposed to be over a year, like the driveway, like the painting, like the pool, like the boardwalk.
Okay,
Yeah. So do you see the difference?
yes, thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Hi.
Backing on that question. as far as-
Speak up.
Yeah, just piggybacking on that question, as far as reserves, specifically for River Shores, what is that looking like, do you know? Like,
They're
what's on
healthy.
top of your mind?
They're healthy. However, and I've done them all these years, and I can pat myself, they're really fairly accurate. The problem is there are new laws going in effect for after December 31st, 2024. So the new board is going to have to hire a professional who will do a reserve study. So they may look at them and say, oh no, I think the driveway is going to cost $1 million. And let's say I don't remember off the top, say I got 250. Well, when we had the driveway done, I was able to pull it out of the reserve and still have a little bit left over. So it's no longer Tony going to be handling it, it's going to be a professional. And when professionals handle things, remember their opinions, and you know, it could be very expensive, but I have to let go. Yes?
What law are you referring to that's going to be changing after?
Because of that nonsense in Miami with the building collapsing, it's not nonsense, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Let me repeat that. Because of the incident that happened in Miami, the legislature is being smart politically. We have to protect public safety. So when you're protecting public safety, that means you have to pay for it. So one of the things they are going to require, because in normal condominiums, many normal ones, and I think Riverbend does not have a reserve, if I'm correct, and I don't know about River Terrace, but it's none of my business, nor do I really care. Because the unit owners were able to waive them every year, because, you know, you have to remember, a lot of elderly people, you know, they figured, I'm not going to live, and I'm thinking back through experience, I'm not just saying this, by the way. When I speak, please try to understand I have some years of it. The attitude was, why should I pay for a future repair? I may drop dead tomorrow. I'm on Social Security. And again, they've written articles there. If you go look online, I'm sure you'll find them. So as a result, because in politics, politicians need to make hay of every tragedy, and it sounds good, a lot of people are now struggling. So you add the insurance, then you're going to add the reserve requirements, and guess what? You may have to get a second job. Now, by the way, for the new reserves, and I don't remember the whole list, but they were talking, you know, they want a reserve in case the wall collapses and the floor. I think they've been modifying it. So instead of, again, wisdom, because, again, you have to try and look as wide point of view as possible, things get tweaked because, you know, there's lobbying, there's lawyers, so we did not get a professional, because it's not required yet, for 2024 for River Shores. Now, I'm sure River Terrace and River Bend, they will have, you know, professionals look at them. I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know. But certainly for next year.
Why don't you want to know?
Because they're separate associations, and it's none of my business.
Online also.
I'm sorry?
I'll find that answer online also.
You can, the financials are online, but then again, at the meeting on the 24th, you can ask questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll probably be there.
Well, no, we need one at a time, but I'll address you.
Sorry.
No. So, yeah, because I have to have a train of thought with all this, because I have to
I'm
think of the past, I have to think of what's going on. It's woo-woo, Tony's woo-woo, but it's okay. So, let's say the maintenance goes up, I don't know, but it's required by law, and the new board will have to figure that out for next year. Does that kind of answer it?
Yeah, when will the reserve study be done?
It will be done for the 2025, so that will be required by law. So I'll let you know if I was handling it, because see, that's that control issue I have, which is not really control, it's trying to prevent a tragedy. I would handle it with me very much involved with it, because I notice when I'm involved with vendors as opposed to not, there could be a different outcome, but that's me. So, but I won't be a factor in this. That's not saying I'm wonderful, that just says somebody has to be awake. Now, your question is, why am I not involved with River Terrace?
I'm thinking that we're a private building.
Correct, you are a
Okay.
separate
Well, I
association.
have a million questions, but so I don't ask them here.
So, yeah, that's, if they're regarding over there, I can't answer them, so,
Yeah.
thank you, Jesus. So,
I'll find
yeah,
some.
so we don't get in the middle of that. They
Gotcha.
do get in the middle of our business over at River Shores, which is, I can't stop.
Well, I'm confused about the community thing.
So that I can answer. So River Terrace is a separate association, River Bend is a separate association, River Shores is a separate association, then Middle River Club, we all jointly have an interest in, and that's where our problems generally stem from,
I gotcha.
unfortunately.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm River Bend. I just always had I'm also new to the complex and stuff. I always wondered about the Heather building. Like, where do they fit into this?
They are River Shores.
The River Shore.
That was the original building on the property, and the developer went bankrupt. And that's what they all would have looked like over here, but because they went bankrupt, they decided to build the mid-rise. Oh, and that's a good point of information, just for River Bend and River Terrace. You realize you are deemed a high-rise, and River Shores is deemed a mid-rise, and there are different rules and laws that apply to you all that do not apply to River Shores. So, any other?
Yeah, just a general question, since you seem to be well informed on this upcoming law. Is there going to be a requirement for a reserve?
Yes.
Any idea what, is it like a percentage of value or?
No, it's what a professional's opinion is, what it's going to cost to redo the roof. Oh, I want to discuss roofs. This is a good thing, because boy, was I effing pissed on this conversation.
Well, I don't want to get into the.
No, but a professional is going to assess the needs, i.e. for River Bend, and then come up with whatever the categories are, the driveway, the percentage for Middle River Club, and all that. So I don't know that you have, my understanding, and I don't know for certain, you do not have reserves. So you should be hit pretty hard.
Well, that makes two of us, but my question is there a time period, that's a follow-up, is there a time period to reach those reserves?
I don't really know the answer to that. I don't think so, because my understanding is it's 100% fully funded reserve, so if you're starting off with zero, ouch. But
Yeah.
again, your board could do it any way they want. I think they could, if they don't want to fund it all in 1 year and then take a chance, I don't know. I can't answer that. So let me speak about roof and the insurance and my conversation, which was not a happy one, with the insurance agent and with the roofer. So many years ago, when I was on the board here, so we're going back maybe 7 years ago, 23rd, I don't know. River Shores had major roof problems. So what did Tony know about roofs? Zero. So what happened was investigating in Florida for a flat roof, I learned you got to maintain it. So the prior boards, being elderly and ready to die, they kept doing Band-Aids. Well, some of the apartments were literally, and I can think of one right off the bat, were destroyed because putting the Band-Aid on didn't work. So I was able to find SK Quality Roofing, and I spoke, of course, nothing was done. It had to be conversation. I had to bring people who knew about roofs in. And that's when we got SK Quality Roofing, and that's when the contract was signed, because in Florida it's wise to maintain roofs. So now you're going back 25 years ago. So now in today's climate, that's a good word, with this insurance bullshit, I learned that even though the roof is in great shape, the insurance companies look at how old the roof is. So, in supplying the contract, supplying the, what do you call it, when they maintain the roof and send the report, I can't think of the word. All that's fun information, but the insurance company's not inclined, and that's why our insurance is probably a percentage is, you know, they don't like